Hey guys, this is Carrie, and in this video we're going to do our introduction to Python. So I'm going to share some videos with you guys to help you install Python on your computer. I don't have any experience installing it on Windows, but hopefully the videos that I find a video that explains it well. Installing it on Mac is pretty straightforward, and I'll share a video with you on how to do that. So now that we have Python installed on our computer, you might think to write your first program, you'll go into Sublime Text, and you'll start coding in Sublime Text. And we are definitely going to be using Sublime Text to program or to write our Python code. However, Sublime Text is really useful for writing large blocks of code. What we're going to start off with today actually is we're going to start off writing single line Python code that doesn't really require a whole program to run. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use a new program that exists on every Mac computer called the terminal. So you're going to go into the terminal and you'll quit out of Sublime Text. So similar to Sublime Text, the terminal on your computer is not just for running Python. You can do a whole bunch of different things with the terminal. So for instance, this is kind of cool. You can change your directory so that you're on the desktop, and then maybe you want to make a new folder named Hello Class on your desktop. And now I've got that Hello Class folder on my desktop. Maybe you want to make a document called helloclass.txt. And that would be a document right here that then you can edit. You can even actually edit it through the terminal. So all of these commands, make directory, touch, these are actually in a programming language called Unix, which is the programming language that runs behind the scenes when you're working on your Mac computer. So the terminal actually can do every single thing you can do on your Mac computer from sort of a typing version instead of a pointing and clicking version. And so a lot of programmers will actually use the terminal to do all of their work for them, instead of pointing and clicking and going through things like a normal person. So let's see. I'm just going to delete these. I'm not going to show you how to do that with the terminal because that's dangerous. So one thing that you can do with the terminal is instead of using these Unix commands, you can actually change your terminal so that it's running Python commands. So what we're going to do that is you type in Python, and rather than just Python, the version of Python that we're going to be using is Python 3. This is the most recent edition of Python. I have Python 3.6, I think. The computers at school might have Python 3.7. But what's important is that it's Python 3. So when you type Python 3, you're going to notice that instead of having this $sign as the prompt, it changes. Oh, I'm actually running Python 3.5, it looks like. It changes the prompt to these three greater than signs. And so when you see these three greater than signs, you'll know you're programming in Python. So to start us off today, we're not going to do anything too complicated. We're just going to look at using Python as a calculator. So Python has all of the regular calculations that you might think a programming language should have. So for example, you can do 4 plus 5, and that will give you 9. Stylistically with Python though, usually rather than type 4 plus 5 like that, you'll type 4 space plus space 5. And by including these extra spaces, it makes it a little easier to read. So 4 plus 5 is still 9 with the spaces. I recommend that between every operation, you always include those spaces because it'll make it easier for your code to be read. So 5 minus 2 is 3. So you might think, well, at this point, what does the multiplication sign look like? So you're going to do 6 asterisk 2, and that will give you 12. And then let's see, for division, what's a cool example? 80 divided by 8, 10.0. And that's a little strange. Why did that give us a decimal even though we divided two integers? Well, you're going to be investigating that question in class today, so I'm going to leave that one open. What about 70 divided by, I don't know, 11? So that gives you a decimal, same as you would expect using a regular calculator. So in class today, we're going to investigate a number of other operations. The last thing that's probably the most important for you to do is to be able to quit out of this Python interpreter. So let's say you want to get out of the Python interpreter and go back to the standard command line. Then what you can do is you can type quit with an open and close parentheses. And the reason why you type this is quit is a function. And you can think about functions from Algebra 2. So remember, like f of x, that function took one variable into it. The quit function doesn't need a variable put into it. It can just do that function of quitting without a variable. So we type quit, and now it returns us from the 3 greater than signs back to the $sign, and now we're back to programming in Unix, which you don't have to worry about. One last Unix command that you might find useful is clear, and that will get rid of everything on your terminal. So real quick summary, right now we're programming in Unix. In order to get out of Unix and into Python, you type Python 3. Now we're in the Python command line, the Python interpreter, so everything we type here will be interpreted as Python code. Today we're only doing calculations, so you might want to do a crazy calculation like 6 plus 5 times 9. And if you think about this, the order of operations that you learned in math class still works. It's going to do the parentheses first, hopefully. 6 plus 5 is 11, times 9 is 99. So Python does math the same way that you would expect. Now when you want to quit out, you type quit. If you just type quit, it's going to give you an error. It's actually a nice error, though. It tells you what to do. You actually need to put quit with the 2 parentheses. And then to get rid of everything on your screen and restart your terminal, you can type clear, and you're ready to program. The terminal is going to be an essential tool for us when we program in Python, the same way that Sublime Text is an essential tool. I hope this was a good introduction to Python for you, and clearly we're going to do a lot more than just calculations with it. So